and welcome to an all-new edition of the Vegas Business Report. I'm JJ Snyder here with Geoff Nathanson. It's 11:07. We're in a new location today, pretty exciting, and it's time to get started.
Yeah, we are recording this episode from the NBA Summer League right here at the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. It's really special. They have so many NBA games here. It's a summer league. It's training for players, for rookies, for free agents looking for contracts, and we are thrilled to be here, courtesy of the NBA Summer League team. Let's kick this off and welcome our first guest. He is really an interesting guy when it comes to sports media executive for a long time, currently the director of the Hall of Excellence at Fontainebleau. Howard Deneroff has been around sports his entire life.
Wow.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in New York City and collecting baseball cards and everything else, just like you mentioned. And yes, mine are in a shoebox somewhere with tattered corners and everything else. Never thought it would become a big business, but obviously it has over the years. And always wanted to find a career in sports because I figured it was the best way to get to go to as many games as possible for free.
That's a good way to go.
It paid off for you,
yes,
didn't it?
It did, yes. Before I worked in the museum, it did. And now I still get to continue my career with this amazing museum here in Las Vegas.
Well, no, I would imagine you're pretty connected with this Hall of Excellence. So it's a permanent fixture now at the Fontainebleau. People are going to see the most incredible items in here. Tom Brady was involved. Jim and Fran Gray as well curated many of the items inside. Tell us what it's like to walk inside.
So it's over 300 artifacts from all different sports. And Jim and Tom put the museum together in partnership with the Fontainebleau Hotel. We opened just over a year ago. And, you know, there's something in there for everyone. There's baseball, basketball, football, boxing, soccer, tennis, golf, Olympics, you name it. We have something. So this way, anybody who comes in should find something that interests him. Maybe there's something that doesn't, but that's okay. Unlike if you go to the Baseball Hall of Fame or the Football Hall of Fame, we have something for every sports fan. And then we also have a trophy room, which features trophies from all different sports, men's and women's, team and individual. And it's such a great venue if you like sports. And the best part about it, not only do you get to see the items in the display cases, but there's an audio and a video tour that's pretty robust. Morgan Freeman narrates it along with Jim Nantz and Marv Albert and Bob Costas and other great Hall of Fame announcers that are well known in their individual sports. So it's really immersive for anybody from, you know, the age of 8 all the way up to 80.
We're talking with Howard Deneroff right now here from the NBA Summer League location at the Thomas and Mack, and we're talking about the Hall of Excellence at the Fontainebleau. I read it was something online, I think it was Facebook or something, where I saw somebody typing in something saying, I'm going to Vegas, what should I do? And somebody else wrote back, check out the Sports Museum. It wasn't specific.
That wasn't me, but I'm glad whoever it was, yes.
But how did this, because this is going to become a destination, and I know you mentioned Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback probably that ever lived, right? His rings.
Not probably.
Probably, for sure. Probably. His rings are on display there.
Yes,
so
all 7 of his Super Bowl rings are there.
How do you get that type of stuff into Vegas, into a museum at Fontainebleau?
So because Tom was involved in the creation of the museum, that one is, you know, that case with the 7 rings is not like anything else we have in there. Tom's stuff is, you know, part of the fabric of the museum and part of the origin of the museum with Jim when they were creating it. But all the other artifacts that are in there are on loan to us. Unlike a Hall of Fame that you go to where the players, the athletes, or coaches donate things there, everything is loaned to us there. And so it gives us the ability to rotate items in and out as needed. And if an athlete wants their items back, okay, it's theirs. They can have it and whatever it is. But we're kind of just, if you would, renting it for a while, right? And so people can see how great it is. And so, you know, from everything from Muhammad Ali to Simone Biles to Michael Phelps to the greatest basketball players of all time, to Babe Ruth, to Shohei Ohtani, you name it, Messi, Ronaldo. We have, you know, with the World Cup going on, you know, this time this summer, it's, you know, it's been a big attraction for everybody, even more so than normal for that display case.
I mean, it's very fascinating. So you can rotate these items, and it also gives the athletes kind of a chance to tell their story a little bit, right? You mentioned the self-guided tour. I know I was very impressed you have Morgan Freeman doing the voiceover. It is kind of a modern take on a museum that you actually kind of scan the item, and then you are able to hear the voiceover.
Correct. Yes, right? We give everybody an audio device. You scan much like you would on your cell phone. but it's automatic recognition software. So you just hold it over the artifact, and it automatically pops up with an audio story. And then not only do you get to hear the story narrated about that particular item and that particular athlete and the significance of that artifact, but you also will get to see video of them in that moment using it, so you see the authenticity of the artifact as well, and the moment in time from which it was used, because authenticity is so important for any memorabilia, but especially a museum called the Hall of Excellence.
I want to take a quick break, but I want to tease that when we come back, hopefully Howard is going to share with us some of the top things that are there. We talked about Tom Brady's rings. There's a lot of other stuff there when you kind of go through it. It's right at Fontainebleau, by the way. It's very accessible, very easy to get to.
It's a gorgeous room.
Yeah.
We're going to tease too. I think he might tell us something he hasn't told anyone else ever before.
Well, let's see.
About the Hall of Excellence.
Let's see. We'll take a time out. You are listening and watching the Vegas Business Report with J.J. Schneider. I'm Geoff Nathanson. We'll take a time out, and when we come back, more with Howard Deneroff on the Vegas Business Report. And we are back, JJ, on the Vegas Business Report. Interesting conversation about sports memorabilia. Howard Deneroff is here from the Fontainebleau Hall of Excellence there. Before the break, Howard, we were talking a little bit about some of the, use the word artifacts, because you're a professional. There's a lot of stuff in there, sports memorabilia, all kinds of stuff. Tell me a couple of things that people that are traveling to Las Vegas or people that live in Las Vegas that are huge sports fans, what should they be looking for there?
Well, depending on what age group you're in, one of the beauties of the museum is it has something for all ages. We had a 3-generation family come in a couple months ago from the Denver area, where the grandfather was in his early 80s and the grandson was just about 18 years old, and the father was somewhere in the middle. And the grandfather went over to the baseball case and was showing this family the Willie Mays item we have, and the Mickey Mantle item and the Hank Aaron item, because he saw them in the first game he ever went to as a child in New York City. And then the father, the middle generation, went and saw the John Elway football because he grew up in Denver at that point. The grandfather had moved there.
That was a good fashion era, by the way, I'll just say, in football.
Yes, and so he was telling his son about his first game was watching John Elway, and then the grandson only cared about Shohei Ohtani and Steph Curry and all the current players. And so that shows you kind of what's there, where something will resonate. You mentioned that when you collected, certain things have different meanings because you either interacted with that athlete, or you were at a game where they did something, or you remember watching it on television or hearing it on the radio. So what I love being in the museum is that every day and every visitor that comes in wants to know something different. And so we are storytellers. And I worked for many years prior to this in the media business and broadcasting, and so, as a producer, and so I was a storyteller there. The only difference is now we're not live. I'm not live on the air telling it with a broadcast. Maybe I'm telling the same stories a little over and over again, but there's so many things in there that it, like I said, every day is a different story. And the World Cup now is big because it's there, but basketball is always big, and I think some people are shocked at the size of some of the trophies we have in there, and they like that, or they just question, are these really Tom's rings? How'd you get those? Or is this really Jackie Robinson's bat from the year he broke the color barrier? Yes. And things of that nature. And we have a football signed by all the Green Bay Packers from Super Bowl I. And Super Bowl I, that's the first one. and so there's something there, like I said, and it just, I love the fact that everybody walks away from it enjoying something else. That's the best part of it. And to me, that's the mark of a good museum in any genre, whether it's art, whether it's history, whether it's dinosaurs or something. It doesn't matter.
Well, Howard, we sure appreciate you broadcasting with us today. This is like a big treat for us, honestly. And what you just described, it got me kind of feeling a little emotionally connected to my dad.
You got the feels.
I did, because my dad grew up in Chicago, and he played baseball in college. And so I grew up hearing about these players from his generation. And when I think of those players and I think of Chicago, I actually get emotional about my dad. Right. So that's what people are experiencing.
So your dad would like the fact that we have Walter Payton's helmet and headband from the day he broke the NFL rushing record back in 1984. So that's displayed in there.
Cool.
And not only do we get artifacts from athletes, but we have a lot of great partners. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has loaned us some items. The FIFA Hall of Fame has loaned us some items. And so we have a great partnership with them so that we can display some of these items. And again, they'll take them back and we'll rotate out with some other artifacts along the way so that it keeps it fresh and people can come back even if they visited the museum before.
Geoff, I kind of hinted that maybe Howard would share a secret with us.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if I could ask you, so I imagine that you have been able to actually touch some of those Super Bowl rings.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
They're rather large.
I'm sorry,
They're
there's
too
7
big
of them?
for my hand. There's 7 of them, yes.
I know, they make them so gigantic, but I
Yes.
guess if you get to the Super Bowl, you better have a big
But that's
ring.
another thing about the museum. You can kind of see the evolution of championship rings because we have some championship rings from years ago where they look like your high school or your college class ring, and now they're these big monstrosities. So Tom's 7th ring has 319 diamonds in it alone.
Would you like that?
And that's because the final score of Super Bowl 55 was 31-9. So that's why there's 319 diamonds. But we have a Las Vegas Aces ring, the one that they just were given a couple months ago for winning their 3rd championship in 4 years. And that has over 500 black and white diamonds in it and has a ring inside of it that comes out so they can wear a smaller version of the ring, the ladies can, or a big version of the ring.
See,
So they're
leave it
getting
to
much
the
more
ladies.
creative. And so and you can see that there. We have the ring displayed closed, but you can watch the video of it coming apart. And Tom's 7th ring, the one I mentioned that he won with Tampa, not the one with New England, it unscrews and inside is a replica of Raymond James Stadium because they were the first team to ever win the Super Bowl at their home stadium in Tampa. So it has the pirate ship, it has the scoreboard, it has the logo at midfield, it has seats, it has everything. It's incredible.
I mean, the teams that design these must be pretty interesting.
Incredible.
Right? A lot of symbolism.
Incredible. You mentioned, Howard, about some of the partnerships that you guys have.
Yes.
So a while back when the Golden Knights were in the playoffs, they had another good run this year. Good
Yes.
for them. Resulted in a new coach, but that's the way it goes. But they did have a really good run. And during that Stanley Cup tournament,
Yes.
You had a big artifact that was delivered
Yeah,
to the
the biggest
Hall of Excellence, the number 1 most famous
Trophy in the world,
That's
yes.
right. Tell us about the Stanley Cup being there on property.
So the Stanley Cup came by we had it for an afternoon on June the 8th, which was great. The NHL was wonderful enough to let us display it for our visitors, and they can come in and take pictures with it. And they couldn't kiss it, they couldn't touch it, but they pretended. We had a lot of people, puckering up and getting close, like that. And so, because that trophy, more than any other trophy, just it's like a magnet. It just pulls people towards it, and it's hard to explain. But having broadcast NHL games for years, it's something I've never seen before, but it happens every time. And even though I've been around the Stanley Cup and I've had pictures with the Stanley Cup before, it's still special every time you're near it. And
Which
so
for most people is very rare.
Correct. And that was it. There was 2 days off between Game 4 and Game 5, or is it Game 5 and Game 6? I forget. Forgive me. But the league was kind enough to say, hey, we have some time and you can display it for a few hours, and it was great. And the best part about it is a lot of people came for the cup, but while they were in there, they got to see everything else, and now they can tell their friends and they can experience the museum because some of them didn't know about it, right? And so now that they did, and some were Carolina fans that were in town for the game, and some were just NHL fans that were here for the game, but some were locals. And so now they know, what we have in there and can either come back or tell their neighbors and their friends, because it is a very special place. And I should mention, we also have about 25 entertainment artifacts as well. So even if you're not a huge sports fan, we have items from Elvis and the Beatles, and we have something for the Wizard of Oz, which obviously is a phenomenon over at the Sphere. And so we have some of those items as well, and trying to get some other artifacts in as well that will fit excellence, right? We have an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony in the trophy room as well, just to see that. And you don't have to go to John Legend's house or Jennifer Hudson's house to see all 4 of them.
Saves you a trip. Yeah.
Right. And so we do have, we're trying, because excellence in all fields should be celebrated. And the genesis of this museum was a way to inspire the youth of Las Vegas and everywhere else that come in to greatness. Because all those athletes that are in there, not just Tom, but certainly Tom and anybody else, they all have a lot of the same traits. How did they become excellent in their craft? And that doesn't mean you have to be an athlete. We honored the Summerlin South Little League team that won the Little League World Series last year. We have their banner hanging up in the museum, and we brought them in and we honored them. We gave them medals, Hall of Excellence medals, and Reggie Jackson came to speak with them. Tom Brady did a video. He couldn't be there that day. But he told them, look, be excellent in whatever you do. it doesn't have to be sports. Be an excellent dentist or an accountant or whatever it is, but it's hard work and it's persistence and it's all those things that, it's passion for what you're doing. That is the common theme throughout the museum, and you feel it when you walk in. It's palpable. It really is.
It makes so much sense, too, here in Las Vegas that you would combine sports and entertainment because we are, of course, formerly we were the entertainment capital of the world.
Slowly
I would
becoming
say
sports.
I don't know. You've been around a lot. Do you think we're earning that title at this point?
Sure. I mean, the Golden Knights, when they first came as the first team here, professional team, obviously get off to a great start, and now everybody wants to be here for a reason. The NBA is coming. The A's are coming next year. And so it is now, and the Summer League here, right, obviously in the backdrop as we're doing the show, it is a destination not just for entertainment anymore, not just for anything else. It is a destination for sports, and it's wonderful.
I want to ask you about the business aspect of it. So for people that are listening and watching around the country, hey, next time you go to Vegas, check out the Hall of Excellence at Fontainebleau. For people that live here in Vegas, there's always a lot of talk about locals and parking and discounts and things like that. Do you guys have a program for people that live here to come check out the Hall of Excellence?
Absolutely. So it's $35 general admission normally, and that includes the audio and the video tour. But if you're a local resident, it's $30. If you're children under 16 or $20. And it is free parking at the hotel for locals as well.
Wow.
And so, yes, we want all the local Las Vegas people to come in because, again, I'd say there's nothing like it in Las Vegas, but the truth of the matter is there really is nothing like the Hall of Excellence anywhere because nowhere else has all these different sports, all these special items, all the way back. Our oldest artifact is 100 years old, or just shy of 100 years old. And, we have items that are as recent as this past season for sports. And we're constantly, adding more items. I literally this morning before I came here just put 3 Bulls championship rings from the 90s in one of the cases.
Oh,
so if you come starting, anytime after
Chicago
you see this,
roots.
you can come see the three. It's from their 4th, 5th, and 6th championships. So, and we're constantly trying to add more items to it as well. So
it's a great opportunity for locals. I think right now with the weather as hot as it is too, what a great activity.
Air conditioned.
It's
air conditioned.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, you might even want a light jacket because it's a little cool in there. We have to keep the artifacts at a certain temperature and humidity to preserve them. Sure.
I guess it would be like any museum.
Especially the older artifacts, anything that's an older jersey or anything like that, but has to be protected. Or trophies will tarnish. Sneakers will disintegrate, any of those things. Lights have to be at a certain, lux or foot candle so that they don't, have a signature fade because there's too much light on it. That's like any other museum, you're right, but it's...
Speaking of excellence, I love to hear about the details of a museum like this, about temperature and lighting temperature, and it's very fascinating. You gave us the breakdown of the customization of the rings and also the evolution of the Super Bowl ring over the years. How about the jerseys? Because I know, like when you think of, maybe, I don't know if it was linen or cotton, but the big uniforms that used to be in baseball.
Back in the day.
Flannel.
In the middle of the summertime, yes, flannel.
For baseball.
Yes, in the old days, And then they went to polyester in the 70s. The Astros used to have these colorful uniforms, and they were terrible also.
Can you imagine polyester?
So
I can't.
That would be hard.
And so it just depends. But jerseys are the ones that will disintegrate more than other artifacts. But even like old leather gloves, will start to crack. Tennis rackets, the strings will start to snap, things like that. It happens. It's one of those things. And I should point out, by the way, so the museum, all these artifacts, these are not just, we have an autographed baseball or an autographed football. These are game-used or game-worn items. These are authentic. This is not, you went to a card show and you could get an autograph for somebody like anybody else can get. No, these are the real thing. They were in action. And so we have... we have a jersey that Shohei Ohtani hit a very significant home run last year. We have something from the World Series last year of his. And so we have Simone Biles' leotard from when she won a gold medal. So all these items are the real thing. And the only place you can see them is at the Hall of Excellence.
And speaking of that, we're talking with Howard Deneroff on Vegas Business Report. And before we let you go, Howard, tell us quickly about the hours. You mentioned a discount for locals, which, yay, love that.
And free parking.
And free parking.
We like that.
Love both of those things. Tell us about the hours it's open for people that want to check it out.
So we're open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 5 days a week. We're closed Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so open Thursday through Monday. Most people, when they come to the museum, take about an hour to walk through it, but if you wanted to listen to the stories for every artifact that's in there, you'd be there 5 hours and 51 minutes. We haven't had that happen yet. The record so far is about 3 hours and 20 minutes for an 11-year-old boy who would have stayed longer, but his mother said, enough's enough, let's go. And so, but most people take about an hour, but it's self-guided. You can go as fast or as slow as you like, and, like I said, you scan on any item that interests you, up pops the story. That item doesn't interest you, skip to the next one. There's enough there, like I said.
Very,
Geoff,
very modern.
It sounds like a challenge to us.
Yes.
Can you do a little over
5
5
hours and
hours?
51
minutes.
minutes?
Yeah, I could do it on
I'll
Thursday.
stay open. If anyone wants to go 5 hours and 51 minutes, I will stay open past 8 o'clock for you and give you a personal self-guided tour.
You heard it. You heard it from Howard.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Which is what
for
I would have
joining
done
us.
when I was 11 years old.
That's
or
right.
anything like
Right.
that. That would have been. That's to me. Even though I've been around sports my whole life, I'm still, like when I had those rings on my hand today, just to put them in the case, not to, I didn't take a selfie with them. I'm not posting it on social media, but it's still incredibly cool, even for somebody who's been around that and is so immersed in it.
It's meaningful, like you said.
It's just right.
Yeah.
It's just, you remember the moments. It flashes you back to whatever that moment was. Just like a smell can, just like a song can, just like an outfit can or anything like that. And so we're thrilled to be at the Fontainebleau Hotel. It's a great experience for everybody, and come on down and visit us, please.
Well, Howard, thank you so much for joining us here
My
on
pleasure.
set at Vegas Business Report. Hall of Excellence at the Fontainebleau is an amazing thing if you're a sports fan or an entertainment fan to check that out every day except for Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and there is a locals discount, so hooray for that. So a lot to see there. I've checked it out, by the way, so I encourage you to do it.
I'm going to go back because I
You
want to
should.
update.
You should.
Yes,
Absolutely.
right. Exactly.
We got a timeout coming up. When we get back on the other side, Kim Spurgeon will be here from Film Nevada. Is Hollywood coming to Nevada? We're going to find out about that as we continue on this edition of the Vegas Business Report.